The Roswell incident of 1947 that we discussed in the previous video has been the subject of much speculation and controversy, particularly regarding the alleged crash of an unidentified flying object near Roswell, New Mexico. Witness testimonies have played a significant role in shaping various theories about what actually occurred. However, it's important to note that witness testimonies can be subjective and influenced by a variety of factors, including memory, perception, and interpretation. Here are some key witness testimonies associated with the Roswell incident. Rancher Mac Brazel is often considered the discoverer of the debris on the Foster Ranch near Roswell. In an initial account, Brazel described finding unusual debris scattered across the ranch in early July 1947. He initially believed it to be the remnants of a weather balloon. However, after hearing about flying disc sightings, he reported his discovery to local authorities. "I was just checking on the sheep after a storm when I came across this strange wreckage. It wasn't like anything I'd seen before. I thought it might be from a weather balloon or something. I didn't think much of it until I heard about those flying saucer stories in the news." William McBrazel Jr., the son of rancher Mac Brazel, provided additional insights into his father's discovery. He recalled his father bringing home some of the unusual debris and expressing confusion over its nature. "My dad was always a practical man. When he brought some of that strange material home, he couldn't make heads or tails of it. We all thought it was odd, but he didn't think it was anything too important at first." Dee Proctor, a neighbor of the Brazel family, claimed to have seen the unusual debris and even handled some of it. According to Proctor, the material was thin, lightweight, and had peculiar properties. "I remember Mac showing me some of the debris. It was like nothing I'd ever seen. Thin like foil, but incredibly strong. I tried to bend it, but it just snapped back into shape. Definitely not something you find every day." Loretta Proctor, the wife of Dee Proctor, had the same testimony as her husband. "When Dee showed me the material, I couldn't believe it. It was like foil, but strong. We tried to bend it, but it just snapped back. It wasn't something you'd expect to find on a ranch." Multiple military personnel from the Roswell Army Airfield were involved in the recovery operation and subsequent investigations. While many were initially involved in issuing statements about a flying disc, they later revised the explanation to a weather balloon. Sergeant Robert Porter said, "We sure did pick up a lot of stuff. I don't know what it was. It wasn't a weather balloon." And Intelligence Officer Major Jesse Marcel said, "It was not anything from this earth." Not so long after that, the statements from military personnel were different from what had been said by the two previous personnels. Brigadier General Roger Ramey said, "The balloon, kite, and radar reflector were found near the ranch, not the flying disc." And Lieutenant Colonel Sheridan Cavett said, "It was a weather balloon, nothing more." Glenn Dennis, a mortician who claimed to have spoken with a nurse at the Roswell Army Airfield, who described autopsies conducted on extraterrestrial beings recovered from the crash site, said, "The nurse told me about these small, non-human bodies. She mentioned the large heads and big eyes. She was really disturbed by what she saw. Later, she disappeared, and I was warned not to talk about it." In addition to his other claims, asserted that he saw military personnel transporting crates allegedly containing alien bodies. "I saw these crates being loaded onto a truck. They were small, and I was told there were bodies inside. It was all very secretive, and they warned me not to ask too many questions." In addition to his claims about the nurse's account, Glenn Dennis alleged that he was harassed and threatened by military personnel after inquiring about the unusual bodies. "After I started asking questions, strange men in uniform warned me to keep quiet. They threatened my life and the lives of my family. It was clear they didn't want anyone digging into what happened."
And he said, "I need to ask you some more questions." He said, "In case something like this should happen," he said, we need to know what the preparation, what your preparations are for the bodies that had been laying out in the elements, you know. And he said, we need to know also what if your treatments of the bodies are the remains, what could you do to them, and if your treatments, would it change any of the chemical breakdown of the tissues, the blood? Would it make a difference? And I said, I thought probably it would.
Gerald Anderson, along with his family, claimed to have witnessed the crash of an unidentified craft near Roswell. According to Anderson, military personnel arrived at the scene and ordered them to leave. We saw this bright light in the sky, and then there was a loud crash. We went to check it out, and there it was, a strange metallic craft. Military guys showed up, told us to leave, and we never talked about it ever again.
He told them that he worked out on the planes out there and that he made maps and that he had seen the wreckage from out there on the planes, and he saw the people and he thought it was a plane wreck, and he, just something was going on, and he came over there to see. And he hadn't been there but just a very, very few minutes when we heard all kinds of motors and engines straining and stuff. And here comes a military car with a big white star on the side of it, followed by a 6x, which is a military truck with a kind of a canvas wagon type canvas thing over it, and it's full of soldiers. They've got guns, and right behind that was what we call a 4x, which is like a medium-sized Jeep truck situation, and it had two big high whip antennas, all kinds of radio gear in the back, and a guy back there with earphones and stuff on, and he's working these radios, and they all pulled up and stopped. And
which direction had they come from?
They came from the north, from the Horse Springs area, right?
So they could have come off the highway there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's exactly how they got there. They come off the highway the same way we did.
Frankie Rowe's father, Dan Dwyer, was a firefighter at the Roswell Army Airfield. Rowe claimed that her father told her about the recovery of extraterrestrial beings and their transport to the base. Dad never talked much about his work, but one night, he came home pale and nervous. He said they had bodies, not human, and that they were unlike anything he'd ever seen. He was scared, and it changed him. Dad told us about the bodies. He said they were small, with big heads and strange features. It scared him, and he made us promise never to talk about it. But we need to know the truth. Major Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer at the Roswell Army Airfield, claimed to have handled debris from the crash site and initially described it as otherworldly. It was nothing made on this earth. It was strange, lightweight, with these symbols or markings. I took some home to show my family. It wasn't like anything I'd ever seen in my years of service. Jesse Marcel Jr., the son of Major Jesse Marcel, claimed that his father brought home debris from the crash site, displaying it to the family. Dad woke me up and showed me this wreckage he brought from the base. It was like metal, but not like any metal I'd seen. Symbols or markings were on some pieces. He said it was from a flying saucer. Multiple military personnel at the Roswell Army Airfield also gave their statements after they investigated the crash site for the first time. Major Edwin Easley was the public information officer at the Roswell Army Airfield. He initially issued a press release about the recovery of a flying disc, but later assisted in presenting the weather balloon explanation. We were all caught off guard by the attention. The first statement about the flying disc was the truth, but then came the orders to change the story. It was a weather balloon, and we had to stick to that. I was following orders. We issued the first statement without knowing all the facts. When we found out it was a weather balloon, we had to correct the record. It was about avoiding misinformation. General Thomas Dubose, the chief of staff at the Roswell Army Airfield, played a key role in the weather balloon explanation. He confirmed the switch in narratives and the presentation of debris to the media. I was following orders. We had to change the story. It was a balloon, And that's what we told the press. We couldn't risk the public panicking over something we couldn't explain. We had to control the narrative. It wasn't about hiding aliens. It was about protecting classified projects. Project Mogul was sensitive, and we couldn't let the Soviets know what we were up to. Lieutenant Colonel Sheridan Cavett, a counterintelligence officer at the Roswell Army Airfield, was present during the recovery operation and later stated that the debris was from a weather balloon. I was there from the beginning. We recovered a weather balloon, not a flying saucer. It was our job to protect classified projects and avoid unnecessary public panic. Frank Joyce, a radio station employee, claimed to have interviewed Major Jesse Marcel before the military issued the weather balloon explanation. I interviewed Marcel, and he was adamant about it being a flying disc. He described the material as not from this world. But then, the military came in, and the whole story changed. It's worth noting that the reliability and credibility of these witness testimonies have been heavily debated, with skeptics often pointing to inconsistencies, contradictions, and the passage of time as factors that may undermine their reliability. Despite decades of research and investigation, the true nature of the Roswell incident remains a subject of speculation and debate. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It will be much appreciated.